Hey folks, I'm Tim Freitas from the Garden of English, and I'm here to make life in your English class easier. Today, I'm going to do just that as we talk about finding universal ideas and generating universal insights. But if this language doesn't sound familiar to you, that's because you know the terms that I just mentioned as the literary term theme. It's true, folks, we are talking about theme today, but I need you to know that for the majority of the rest of the video, I'm not going to use that word. Instead, I, once again, will be referring to what makes up a theme as universal ideas and universal insights. Okay, so in my numerous years of teaching English, I have noticed that students at all levels make 5 mistakes when trying to write about or discuss themes in literature. Here are the problems I most commonly see. Students label themes as just one word. Students write themes as ridiculously simple you statements. Students construct themes as silly idioms. Students project themes as obvious definitions that don't really say anything at all. And students convey themes in a way that still talks about actual characters or events that are in the story that they're analyzing. Students can even mix and match some of these problems, and that makes all of this even worse.
I'm gonna throw up.
So, if you or your students seem to find themselves plagued by any of these thematic demons, I'm here to help you slay them. As I go through this video, I'm going to rely on Ray Bradbury's 2-page short story called The Pedestrian. I'm going to link the text and the audio version of this story in the description right below this video. And that description is right next to the like and subscribe buttons, which you should press because it will help us reach our goal of gaining maybe 60,000 to 70,000 subscribers.
Bet, 6-7.
Now, if you insist on not reading this ridiculously short story, I'm going to give you a quick synopsis of it right now so you can understand what I'm doing throughout the rest of this particular film. Basically, the protagonist in the story is named Leonard Mead, and he goes out on a walk every evening. He's the only person who does this because everyone else is in their homes, glued to their televisions and in-home entertainment. While Leonard walks around the city, it's made quite clear that no houses have their lights on, just their TVs. On the particular night described in the story, while Mr. Mead is returning home from his walk, he's stopped by a police car and he's interrogated about what he's doing. The voice from the police car can't comprehend why he's out walking when there's AC in his home. And the police car also can't understand why Leonard Mead doesn't have a television in his own house. Upon learning that Leonard is a former writer and that he's unmarried and he just walks for the sake of being outside, the police car demands that Leonard get into the car so he can be taken to a psychiatric hospital so he can be studied for regressive tendencies. After Mr. Mead gets into the police car, they drive right by his actual house, which is the only house on the entire block and in the entire dark city that's entirely lit up. So basically, in a nutshell, the story is about a guy who's walking and then gets arrested because of it. Now, I have a quick note for any of you who have read the novel Fahrenheit 451 before. In it, a character named Clarice mentions her uncle and how he was arrested once for just walking. Well, Leonard Mead is her uncle. So her mentioning that in the novel Fahrenheit 451 is an allusion to this particular story. Anyway, before I show you how to produce strong universal insights, otherwise known as thematic statements, I want to show you what each of my 5 typical violations would look like when applied to this story. I may have a student that says the theme of this story is walking. I may have a student that says the theme of this story is you should go against the flow. That one's a combination of the crummy you statement and the idiom, and it's real bad. I may have a student that says the theme is people who like nature don't stay inside.
Duh.
Or I may have a student that says the theme is Leonard Mead is different than the others. Now, all of the examples I just provided are awful, but they do attempt to project something thematic. But rather than let you just write crappy attempts at writing thematic statements, I want to help you transform these into ridiculously academic, delicious thematic insights. So here's how you're going to do it. The first thing you want to do is you want to think about whatever story you're interacting with, and you want to identify universal ideas that the story explores. A universal idea is an abstract concept that the story is going to focus on. Universal ideas are words like love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control, or other words like hate and boredom and things like that. On the worksheet that I have for this video that's down in the description, I actually have a decently sized list of universal ideas that you can check out if you need more examples of what these singular abstractions look like. That worksheet will also include all of the templates and models that I show you in this particular video. Anyway, when I think about this particular story, I want to consider what universal ideas it focuses on throughout the plot. And here are the first ones that come to my mind. Technology, obsession, dehumanization, conformity, nonconformity, nature, and industrialization. Listen, I'm sure that none of you have ever been named Leonard Mead and you've never been arrested for just walking on the sidewalk around 8 p.m. at night. But I'm also sure that you have experience with at least 2 or 3 of the ideas I've listed prior. Have you ever used technology? Have you ever been obsessed with it?
Yes, I love technology.
Has your technology ever moved you to ignore other human beings? Have you ever felt pressured to conform? Or have you acted in a way where you haven't conformed to what the masses are doing? What about nature? Ever heard of it? Ever been in it? Have you ever seen an urban area in your life before? If you've answered yes to any or all of these questions, you are able to relate to this story, even if you have not gone through exactly what Leonard Mead has. And this is why we read stories and watch movies and television, because we connect with ideas. Good. So step 1 for generating strong thematic statements is all set. We found universal ideas. Well, now we need to take these ideas and transform them into educated universal insights that don't exhibit any of the 5 common issues that I explored earlier. The easiest way to do this is by filling in this template that I'm going to put right up on your screen right now. In this template, all you need to do is fill in what's in the parentheses. So, I'm going to start filling in my universal insight statement by saying that Ray Bradbury writes The Pedestrian in order to illustrate that technological obsession. Now, I have to stop here for a second. When I fill in the last part of this template, I'm going to consider the whole story and I'm going to ask myself, what does this story imply about technological obsession? When I write out my interpretation about this implied message, I want to see if I can connect the original universal idea of technological obsession with at least one of the other universal ideas I already generated for this particular story. So, I'll ask myself, how does technological obsession relate to dehumanization, conformity, nonconformity, nature, and/or industrialization? As I consider this question, I can notice that technological obsession actually relates to dehumanization and nature if I consider the story. So I'm now going to identify that relationship by ending my universal insight as follows. Ray Bradbury writes The Pedestrian in order to illustrate that over-obsession with technology often dehumanizes individuals and separates them from nature. Well, would you look at that? I have now identified a universal insight about the pedestrian that connects technology, obsession, dehumanization, and nature. And I did so without including the word you, projecting an idiom, only identifying one word, including any literary elements from the story, or blatantly providing a simplistic definition.
Oh, that's pretty slick.
Now, one final note. If you're ever tempted to write the word you in a universal insight or thematic statement, the easiest way to fix this would be to just take that word out and substitute the word individuals in the place of the word you. Using the word you to mean universal audience is a telltale sign of immature writing. And you don't want to come off as an immature writer. So know that now you don't have to. If you want to see another way to generate universal insights and thematic statements, or if you're looking for more help with your studies in literature, you're going to want to stick around and check out the other videos that are about to pop up right on your screen.
What all you can